Hi everybody, welcome to Kerbal Space Program 2 Early Access. Today we're making an air-launched rocket with the aim to put it in a stable orbit and then get back to the surface of Kerbin. The first design utilized a simple drone aircraft and a drone rocket with 4 air-breathing engines, 2 ramjet intakes, some control surfaces and relatively large wings and top-mounted rocket for launching inside the atmosphere to then go into orbit. I had to make sure that the surface of pressure and surface of mass were relatively well aligned. Luckily the rocket was rather light. Just gave some last minute struts and we're off. This thing flies surprisingly well. I think the front control surfaces make it an easier time to achieve liftoff. And using alt and inputs to offset the controls is a great way to control it smoothly. Obviously I was still settling into the control scheme. The more I used the alt inputs, the better the flight went. There we go. Nice and good. As we got around to 15 kilometers height, I shut off the engines to make sure that we don't hit the rocket. Didn't go too well. At this point I had no idea what was going on still. For a while I thought that I hit something while detaching the rocket, so I switched up the design to use linear stage separator. So this looks a lot more clunky and it does fly clunkier as well. It's harder to keep stable, but still, with the alt inputs, it's manageable at least. And as you can see, it's got more than enough power to lift it up. The real problem was with the fuel, because it kept taking fuel from the rocket stage, and for some reason I couldn't transfer it back. What's more, I don't think the linear separator has enough force to launch something like this, so the rocket just flopped about and yeah, fell off. Still couldn't switch to the other drone rocket, and still I was left in control with this one. I still thought that maybe it was a question of adding some antennae to it, or maybe again the concussion from starting disabled something, and that's why it didn't treat it as a separate plane or rocket. So I changed the design to mount the rocket on the underside of the plane and used non-planar wings, much larger than before, and then I had to add some top wings to offset the center of pressure so it flies just a little bit better. If the center of pressure is too low, the blue ball with the long arrow, then it would be insanely wobbly to control, and I doubt I could keep it in the air for long. This one got into the air quite nicely actually. As long as it didn't make any sharp turns, it flies perfectly well. Still needs some offset to the inputs, but still perfectly manageable. And then I came to the height where I wanted to initiate firing the rocket. Again, it did not go so well. Shutting off engines to decrease the force. And staging went perfectly, but the rocket on the underside just fell off, and I couldn't switch between vessels. Still, no idea why. Both had cores in them, so they should be controllable. I could control from either the core on the main plane or the core from the rocket just fine. It only failed when we switched. So as a last effort, I decided to scrap the remote-controlled rocket and build one with a cockpit, and obviously a Kerbal inside. I did attach some radial-mounted parachutes, so in case this succeeds. Again, I was surprised how nicely this thing flies, despite the weird design. At this point I had to make quite a lot of corrections to keep it flying straight, but I think if I added some larger vertical surfaces, then it would help a lot. Okay, at 15,000 meters above sea level, you can see that the flame plumes from the air-breathing engines are getting shorter, and you can plainly hear them giving off less and less energy. So this is the perfect moment to launch the rocket. And what do you know? Success! We have control. And I still can't switch back to the other craft. And yeah, here it just disappeared. Don't know why, don't know how, probably a bug. And somehow I lost one of the rear control surfaces. I have no idea where, even on repeat viewing of video, I couldn't find the exact moment where I lost it. It seemed to be fine directly after launch, and then it's just gone. Luckily, it went just fine into orbit, so we could circularize at relatively high apoapsis and reach stable orbit. Who bloody knew? Let's remember to take a scenic shot for the family back home and the guys back at the bar. Okay, enough is enough, and after reaching the light side, it's just a short burn retrograde and we can get back to the surface. You can see here just how much the atmosphere works as an air brake when you see where we were supposed to land on the surface and where we'll actually end up. I still kind of miss the air drag effects from KSP 1, so I hope they get added soon. Well, the missing control surface might have helped here, at least a little bit. It was completely out of control. Luckily we had just enough parachutes to safely land. I expected to hit the ground fast enough to destroy something at least, but Didn't even damage the engine, which is nice. So I would definitely call this mission a success, even if we did have some designing pains along the way. All in all, I do think I learned quite a lot along the way. So next time we'll go bigger. I really hope you liked this video, and if you want to see more, then please like and subscribe, and if you feel like it, leave a comment with what you'd like to see next. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you around. Bye.